we're just making up as we go along here. But like I said last episode, I've done a lot of reading about these things.
To be as lateral with this project as we possibly can, so that whatever happens in the future, we're ready for it and we can kind of adjust and survive it. That's a super handy piece of kit you got you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
It is.
Doesn't mean so much in the end.
It's important with all things to be able to see where you're going. Visualize what you're aiming for. So, after weeks of digging down, we're going to start building up. After innumerable barrows of cement, John has been itching to get his hands on some wood again. And even if the order of things doesn't make sense, once we have the shape of what's to come, we're pretty sure the future of this project will look a little clearer for us all.
What I'm going to try and do today is build this wall. First of all, build the stud-work wall here. It'll basically be just a square to start off with, and then we can add the extra stud work in as we go along, and build on for the doorway. And then after I've built this stud work, I'm going to attach this board onto the stud work. Then we're going to lift it up and we're going to drop it down.
Okay.
And that'll be that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yesterday you were talking about building half of the wall with bricks and then the other half with wood. Have you decided to go all wood now?
So my concern about what I was thinking actually was maybe we could make it out of stone, this part of it here, so it would look like the actual stone house, you know? My concern is, here in Portugal, if something's built out of wood, everybody thinks it's temporary, for whatever reason. So any kind of hint of stonework, what we don't want is the planning dude to come over and go, well, this is obviously a permanent fixture, and just try and argue the point that it's not. So I think we stick with wood.
Cool.
And maybe it's possible one day, maybe we could get retrospective planning permission for it, as long as the amount of square meters that we've got planning permit for
Hasn't been exceeded.
But for now, we are definitely building it with the intent to pull it down.
Which all seems a bit bonkers, really. I'm pretty sure, though, that the issue with a lot of these things is the roof. Because it's all about permeability. So if you've got a roof over it and it's impermeable, although I suppose the cement could be a problem too. But anyway, our architect did say to us that a lot of the time with the planning, it's roof space. What's under cover, what's under a roof. That kind of counts towards your square footage or your square meters that you're allowed. So what we were talking about over breakfast this morning was perhaps, if we make the rafters in this room really beautiful and strong and leave them exposed, and it'll all be lovely. If we do need to take it down, take the roof off and grow vines over it, or kiwis or passion fruits or something, and make a kind of pagoda that's covered with vines, which is something I've always wanted to have. And then this house would have a beautiful outdoor space, which was kind of pretty and unique. So we're thinking in all sorts of different directions. We are really trying to be as lateral with this project as we possibly can, so that whatever happens in the future, we're ready for it and we can kind of adjust and survive it as best we can.
Nice. And then inside that, we'll have another one that goes up like that.
Cool.
So this beam here will support part of the lintel over the door.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So the bit that goes over the top of the door will rest on this piece of wood here. And inside this piece of wood, we'll have another piece of wood that will be the actual stud work.
Okay. Clever.
Right. So now we need to work out or decide how high do we want the building? How tall is it going to be?
Oh, tricky. So this also brought up a change of plan in a way, didn't it? Because we were thinking that in order to somehow squeeze a second bedroom into our life, John and I would sleep on a mezzanine level inside this roof, and the boys would have the bedroom inside the house as a kind of bedroom, playroom space for them. But because of the shape of the room and because of the size of the room, we're thinking that a mezzanine actually isn't going to work. It's just going to look a bit silly. It's going to feel really kind of claustrophobic and heavy over the head. And we're not convinced that a mezzanine is the best solution. So we're kind of thinking, you know, our boys are so little anyway. They're both used to sleeping with us. So I just feel like we're all going to be sleeping in their room most nights, or we're going to be hauling toddlers up ladders into mezzanines, which it just feels like a poor use of nighttime time. So we've parked the mezzanine idea, I think, and we're just going to focus on having one bedroom still and make that as comfortable as we can. And then this area will be like the big kind of playroom, living room space that, like what we've got now, no different really. So I suppose the height of the roof doesn't need to be so high now because we're not putting a mezzanine into it currently. Plans change though, as you may be noticing.
Okay, so just measuring the two buildings that we've got.
Yeah.
The kitchen room in the stone house is 2.2 high.
Okay.
But the ultimate plan will be to dig down in that room and
Yeah.
make it higher, because the door, you can't get through it without banging your head. The kitchen in the house that we're going to knock down is 2.6 high.
Okay.
And that feels quite high, doesn't
It does,
it?
yeah, it's lovely. It's perfect.
When you think about having an apex on top of this, 2.6 high from this breeze block, that's going to be the base of the floor, the height of the floor. 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.6 is right there.
Okay.
That's quite high.
Well, maybe a compromise between the two buildings.
I think 2.4.
2.4 feels fine. That's got loads of space above your
I
head.
think so. 2.4. Remember, we've got to try and build an apex on top of this.
Yeah.
Off of this as well. You know, and the back of the house is a little bit. 2.4. Let's have a quick look over here. The back of the house is further out than this house. So what we don't want to be doing is trying to build an apex and chopping around that.
No, quite right.
So now I'm really wishing I paid more attention to Mrs. Adani's trigonometry lessons, but I think we're going to be just okay. We'll be just fine with 2.4.
Cool.
Okay, 2.4 and a
So is that, okay, we're having an apex like this, right? Is the 2.4 the bottom of the apex or the top?
No, 2.4 will be the height of the wall here,
Okay,
and then the apex will go up like
up
this.
from that,
What
okay.
I'm worried about is clearing this
Yeah,
with the apex because it's coming out from here.
got it, okay.
So it's a worry that it wasn't going to. But I think 2.4. I'm confident 2.4 will be fine with or without trigonometry.
Well done.
Okay, so
Should
we
be
want to
so
cut
proud.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 studs at 2.4.
Okay,
6 studs at 2.4. That's what we want to cut.
okay.
Okay. or we have the pieces of wood just fitting in to the top. So we got it on the top or in the top. Let me ask the boss, she might come up with some ideas. Tara?
One of my most important jobs for the day today is to put up a trellis for the peas. So I'm going to try and use some of our bamboo canes, which are still going strong from our epic bamboo kind of battles on the farm, and chicken wire to make a fence in between the rows of our peas and kind of, well, give them something to climb because they're desperate. I also have a really fun idea, so thanks to everybody who sent it to me on Instagram actually, to make a sweet pea teepee for the boys. I've got my sweet pea seedlings doing really well in the greenhouse and I'm excited to get them out when they're ready. And one of the ideas that's come through is just genius and I think would make a really fun little spot for the boys to play with while they're up here at the greenhouse with me. So I'm just cutting off this roll of chicken wire from the end of the chicken coop and then I'll go and get the trellis up. Yeah. Crusoe. So here's the row of peas I'm going to do. And my thinking is just to put a line of posts in the middle of the 2 rows of peas and then pin some fence to it so that they can climb up the fence. I think 2 layers of this chicken wire will be sufficient and hopefully they'll be happy with that. I have this trellis here which I built for sweet peas last year, which I think actually might be quite useful because these stakes are all a similar length and they're a little bit shorter, a little bit kind of easier to sink into the ground than those big fat ones. So I might take this trellis down, it's got to come down anyway, and use these to stake up the peas. There's so much to look forward to at the moment with the seasons changing and kind of getting the veggie garden ready for the growing ahead. And I'm excited for a bit of a year of experimenting with things like no-dig and trying new ways of doing things, seeing what works best in our particular space and, with what we want to grow, see how much we can grow. I'm kind of flying solo this year. In some ways, Joao's still going to be around, but not as much as he was last year, because this year he's at university. So kind of feeling the pressure a little bit, because last year we had the most amazing garden, but I can't really take full credit for that at all. Without Joao, we would have been a bit lost. So this year, hopefully, we've set things up so that whatever needs to be done, I can still get done. Right, so I'm going to snip down here, tuck this up nice and tight, and then put another layer, I think, across the top there. And then I think I need to support these to each other so that they're nice and strong. And then we'll just tuck the peas on, and I'm sure they're going to love it. They look desperate. Look at them, all reaching. There we go, chaps. That'll be better, won't it? It's going to be amazing to see how quickly they creep up here. Hopefully I've made it tall enough. I'm imagining just a nice big bush of peas rather than a big wall of peas, if that makes sense. Yeah, so let's get on. So with this layer, I'm trying to thread it through, like kind of zigzag it through them, just to give it all a bit more support and stability. And I'm also using the nodules on the bamboo canes to hook the wire onto, which is helping the wire stay in place as I make my way down the line. I've got so many fun plans for the garden this year. I really hope I can kind of get them going. One of them is I'd really love a tunnel, you know, like one of those, an arch that you walk through that's got all your beans and tomatoes and cucumbers on it. So anything that climbs, I'm hoping to be able to put up a big arch through the middle, and we plant up that and try and make use of some space. I've planted lots of flower seeds. I'm really hoping to have lots and lots of flowers in the greenhouse, in the veggie garden this year, as well as veggies. And yeah, it's a real privilege to be able to kind of experiment with this sort of stuff and learn as we go and have the opportunity to eat homegrown food. Nothing tastes better than a homegrown cucumber or a homegrown tomato. So it is a real privilege, and it's amazing to be spending time up here. It's just beautiful, you know, it's so peaceful, and just looking at these little pea fronds as they reach for the sky, you know. Find inspiration in small spaces. That is the trellis all tied up. Now all that remains is to hook the little peas to it and figure out what I'm going to do with this lot behind me. So we planted, excuse the state of Huckleberry, he will be resurrected when his services are required once more. For now he's having a sleep. But anyway, we planted, just before we went to India in December, we planted a couple of lines of favas beans, broad beans, and these peas. And these peas at the back here are not doing nearly as well as the ones that I've just trellised. I think it's a lack of sun. If I look at this area of the farm, the sun kind of goes behind these massive trees behind me at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the winter. So they're just not getting enough sunshine. But they still need a chance. So I think I'm going to see if I can... Hi, buddy. Okay, great. Thanks, buddy. Okay, you got your pliers. Good work. But anyway, I think maybe just a couple of branches where there are some peas growing would be sufficient. I don't think kind of fiddling about with another fence is necessary because there's not very many of them. Have a look. You see them here. They're all a bit patchy. They're a different kind of pea. If I'm remembering correctly, these are mange choux and these are sugar snaps, which are my favourite. Have you got your pliers?
Oh no, I got my other pliers to cut some.
Good job. You cut that wire, buddy, with your pliers. Okay, I'm going to hook the peas up now. Want to come and see? Did you go and have a rock star, did you?
I can't figure this out, Mom.
You can't figure it out, buddy. Well, keep trying. I'm sure you can. Don't step on the lettuce, buddy.
Sorry about that. I did it, Mom.
You in?
What's the wire being not coming up?
They are, buddy. Our Mummy's trying to hook them on. Do you want to try?
Yeah.
Okay, watch here. Crusoe, look, let me show you. See these ones here? Let's do this. They need to be tucked up against the fence, and they've got these little fingers that are reaching, desperate to climb the fence, and we just have to help them catch the fence. You want to help me?
Yeah. I got a rope here.
Okay. Oh gosh, as soon as the sun goes away, the chill in the air is quite something. Anyway, last of the peas to get standing onto, last of the peas to push onto the wire, and then that's the job done for the day. A simple one, but one that's really overdue and really needed, and feels good to have done myself. Because last year Joelle did it, so it feels good to be kind of trying new things for myself, you know? Build something today.